Hello, this is Bwana from Bwana.tv, and today I'm going to discuss Google Wave. I was fortunate enough to get an invite from Google to be invited to this new kind of collaboration tool. And the purpose of this video is kind of to give you an insight on my first impressions and what I think about the tool and some of the downfalls of it and where I think Google should go with it. So, Google Wave is causing a big ripple on the internet because a lot of people have set high expectations for it, and they're trying to make it into something that it's not. Obviously, with a juggernaut like Google, that's easy to do, especially when they're trying to reinvent so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. It's not going to be a face-to-face. I'm going to show you a screencast of Google Wave, and I'm going to walk through some of the features, some of the highlights of the application, and kind of give my best interpretation of what Google's trying to do, what I got out of it. And I even got a couple of use cases that I found that I could utilize myself for my day-to-day needs. So enjoy the walkthrough and let me know what you guys think. So this is Bwana, and I'm back, and you're looking at the Google Wave interface. This is what you see when you log into Wave. Of course, you go to google.com/wave, you put in your credentials, and then you're in. Now, on the left side, we can see a navigation here where we can go to our different inboxes in terms of there's folders, there's searches, and the like. I'm going to talk about a lot of this stuff. I don't know if I'm going to get to everything because there's so much. I'm going to get through as much as I can here. There's your contacts. This is your Google Wave contacts, and these are important for inviting people to your waves and just interacting with the Google Wave community. Then here's the inbox. Whatever the navigation has selected here, I have the inbox clicked. I can go to all, by me, requests, so on and so forth. That'll show up here in this pane. And this is my inbox. These are waves that I have been invited to, or public waves that I have joined. And there's a kind of a difference, and I'm going to try to do my best to explain that a little later. As you click a wave, the interface on the right here shows you that particular wave and everything associated with it in terms of who's invited. At the top, you can see the list of users that invited to the wave. There's a common toolbar you can see here for this navigation. You can archive, mute, inbox, spam, read, and unread different waves, and then you can reply. You can use the playback functionality, which I don't know if I'm going to show because you guys have already seen that. Archive, mute, spam, read, unread, and trash. And if you scroll down, you can see each individual reply, or blip is what they call them in the Google Wave community. And if you notice, there's a little green line next to some of these little vertical lines. You see those? Those are blips. That's what they call them. Those are blips that I have not read yet. There's several keyboard shortcuts to get to those, and I'm going to try to get to those as well. This is all adjustable. If you don't like the way this looks, you can minimize certain panes by clicking the minimize button, and it'll move it to the top. And it gives you a nice little drop down arrow, so if you still want to access it, you can do so in a nice drop down window. It's very cool. You can do the same with contacts and so on and so forth. Now this is the view that I like the best. I like to see the inbox on the left side, and I like to see the wave on the right. But if you're deeply involved with something, you can minimize this and just be presented with a giant picture or a giant pane with the entire wave inside, and knock yourself out. To maximize things, you do the same. You just hit the other button to maximize that. So that's a quick overview of the interface of Google Wave. So now let's get into the usage of Google Wave. Well, the way I think, and this is what I read and this is what I gathered from Google, is kind of a mesh between email, wiki, and this email wiki mashup has social network capabilities. So that's kind of the premise of what Google Wave is designed for in my travels, if you will. Now, there's two very important concepts when it comes to this social networking aspect. I'm going to focus on that a little bit more before I talk about the email and wiki features. There's a public wave and a private wave. Now, private waves are waves that only you and someone else have access to, or people that have been invited to a particular wave. Like here's my friend George, he invited me to this wave to check out a wave extension. Only he and I can see this particular wave. But if I go to a bigger wave like the wave FAQ, this is a public wave, and the way you implement or create a public wave is that you have to add a special user to that wave. And to do so, you go to your contacts. Mine may still be here, but if not, I'll re-add it. And then you add a contact. This may change in the future, but this is how it works now. And the user is called public@agwave.com. Now, it's going to tell you that the user doesn't have a G-Wave account, doesn't have a Google Wave account, but it lies. All you have to do is hit enter, and it adds it anyway. So now I got this user in here. So if I want to create a wave, let's do that real quick. I'll create a new wave, and we're going to have fun on this wave. I'm creating a new wave now, and I'm going to call it title demonstration of Google Wave for Bwana.tv. I'm recording it right now, and I imagine somebody's going to see it and they might do something crazy, but I hope not. And I'm going to add that user. As you can see, I click the plus sign to add that user to the wave. Now, this is what it does. It says not yet implemented user gave everyone access. So yeah, it's kind of buggy, kind of rough around the edges, but now this wave is public. So you're probably asking, Bwana, how can you see public waves? Well, you can use search, and there's search capabilities in the search bar up here, and to do so you just type with public, and now I can see all, and there's a wave I just created, and here's a bunch of other public waves that have been created. Now the issue is, and something you have to be careful with if you're new to Google Wave, is that every time you click on one of these public waves, you are automatically added to that wave. So every update to that wave comes to your inbox. And to prevent that and to stop that after you join, you just simply mute the wave. But be mindful of that. Don't just go clicking on waves left and right, because you're going to be added to all of that stuff. So be careful. So let's go back to my inbox here. Now you may have noticed I typed the search term. Well, there's a search cheat sheet wave available. There's a bunch of cool stuff in here that gives you a whole bunch of keywords and things like that. If you join Wave, just send me a private wave or whatever, and I'll invite you to this wave. I think it is public. You can just search for a search cheat sheet, and it has all the search terms you can use. This video can easily be an hour and a half if I keep going down this path, but I'm going to just stop it right there and talk about some of the other features. So the next part I'm going to talk about is the collaboration on tasks, which is otherwise known as a wiki. Now, a lot of wikis today, wiki is a common term for these websites and these sandboxes where people can collaborate on material. One of the most popular wikis out there is Wikipedia. Individuals from around the world contribute on various topics, and they've created a user-driven encyclopedia, if you will. Now, just imagine that, but inside of your inbox. If you do that, you got Google Wave. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. So, for example, I could come here and I could come to this this wave that my friend George sent me, and I'm going to modify this one because he doesn't care. And I'm going to modify it. If you invite anybody to a wave, they can modify the wave. Keep that in mind. There's not a whole lot of control over who can do what. So if you invite somebody to the wave, just know that they can wipe out everything. So I'm going to hit Control E, which is a keyboard shortcut, to edit. And I'm going to say, here is my edit, George. Sorry, recording a video right now. And I'm going to make that highlighted with the highlighted tool. So if he had that wave open, he could have saw me typing in real time, and hopefully he'll come online. I can see him typing some stuff as well. But I've edited this particular wave, and this is a great way to collaborate on things. I can reformat things. Let's do that again. I'll hit Control E, and I'll make this particular text bold, and I'll make this particular text red. So you can come in and collaborate on documents And I think this is the power of Google Wave. This is where it's going to shine. It's going to have that email-like interface, but it's definitely going to make collaboration on documents and on projects a lot easier and a lot more seamless. So that's a quick, really quick demonstration of what that does. Now, the biggest collaboration I've seen so far is on this Wave FAQ. This is a giant community-driven FAQ built by everybody on Google Wave right now, and it's got all kinds of people. There's 118 people on it right now, and everybody's using their collective knowledge to kind of generate this huge frequently asked questions. And every day I come here, there's somebody changing or working on something. Right now, nobody's doing anything on it. But I imagine in the next few minutes somebody's going to add something, they're going to edit something. It's a huge collaborative event. So that's very, very cool. The next thing I'm going to talk about is extensions and bots. And there's a bunch of extensions you can download. Let's see. There is a Google Wave etiquette. No, that's not the one I'm talking about. There is an embed gadget that I found very, very useful, and I actually typed up a wave on it. This is a gadget which will allow you to embed any HTML. So if you want to embed a YouTube video, I've even embedded my Justin.tv wave, or my Justin.tv video inside of a wave. Let's find that one. It's I could search for it, but I don't have a lot of waves to begin with, so it should be in here somewhere. There it is, Justin.tv live stream. And I put a yo dog thing on there because it was like plans within plans type thing. So you're going to see me streaming live now. There I am with Bender hanging upside down. And I'm going to mute the audio before things go. See, I'm on a wave. I'm waving. Let's see how delayed it is. Yay, see, I'm waving. But now this is a live video within a Google Wave. And I use that HTML embed extension to do that. It actually was a gadget that enabled me to do that. I'm not going to demonstrate how to do that gadget, but that's just some of the capabilities you can do. Now there's also a bunch of things called bots, and there is another huge wave which was created by one of the main author at lifehacker.com, Gina. I can't pronounce her last name. I'm going to wait till it comes up. I just know her by Gina. And as you can see, the speed is slowing down just a tad. That's one of the things that's wrong with this right now, is that the performance on the larger waves could be improved. Alright, so Gina Tripani, that's how you pronounce her last name, I guess. She created this wave called My Favorite Google Wave Bots So Far. As you can see, this little indicator is telling me how many people are actually clicking on this wave, because it's public, and public user will automatically add you. So let me go up to the top here, and you'll see there's a nice little list going on, and people are updating it. And basically, to add a bot, you just add this ID to your contacts list, and then you can use the functionality it has. For example, here's one called Twit Usernames. And if you add Twit usernames to your contact list, add that user to the wave or blip, then everybody whose name is linked with an @ sign will be linked to twitter.com to that user ID. So that's just a quick example. When I get to the problems, I'm going to talk about this bot thing again. But here's a big giant list of bots that people are liking, not liking. You can see people are commenting and adding their thoughts on this. Like I said, this video can be very, very long, so I'm going to try to cut it short. Those are some of the extensions and bots you can use with Google Wave. So now let's talk about this use case that I've tried to develop in Google Wave. This is something that I'm just experimenting with. I want to find something that I could personally use it for with my day-to-day needs. And podcast show notes came into play. So I posted this wave. Should I post my show notes in Google Wave? So if I do an audio podcast, should I post my show notes here so people can submit feedback, can do all kinds of stuff, can submit corrections? I know wikis are popular with some podcasters. I know Leo Laporte has a wiki for his show notes. And I just thought it would be a good way to utilize Google Wave. So some people said, sure, why not? Go right ahead, and I did. So I put my last show up here, episode 204, and you'll see here that I've got some pretty decent formatting here. I have the title, and I have the actual audio embedded using that HTML embed Google Wave extension that I told you about earlier. So now I have a flash embed, so if someone comes to this wave, they can actually listen to the podcast and submit feedback on all the individual stories here. And I have each individual story as a separate blip within Google Wave. So theoretically, people could come in here and comment on every story that was submitted for that particular story. And I have my sponsors linked in here and where I got the audio embed. So this is just an idea of something, some way to implement Google Wave for podcasters. I know some podcasters out there don't like typing show notes, so they might be able to invite users to a particular Google Wave to do the show notes for them and use that as a central repository. Now, as Google Wave becomes more popular, you can embed these things on your website. Right now, you have to have access to Google Wave in order for that to be true. In order for other people to see the Wave, they have to have access to Google Wave. So right now, embedding Google Waves is not a real benefit because hardly anybody has access. So that's a really quick, it didn't take me very long to do this at all. And I even created a simple guideline document, and I said these are the guidelines for editing this wave, because like I said, if you invite somebody to a wave, they're going to have access to everything. So in this case, I said please adhere to the Google Wave etiquette. So there's this huge, this is big, a huge wave about general guidelines about using Google Wave, namely when it comes to public waves. Don't go in and edit people's waves without their permission, and don't add some bots, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, all these little fun bots to other people's waves that could potentially ruin the experience. So that was just a really quick example of how I could utilize this for my podcast show notes. Hopefully someone will get some use out of that, and maybe we can make it better as Google adds more features. Now let's talk about some of the bad things of Google Wave, or some of the shortcomings, things I think they can make better. Here's a perfect example right here in this wave. Someone came in here and added a bot called Rickrolly. Yes, there is a bot called Rickrolly. And what it does is that it puts an annoying post on your wave, which auto starts Rick Astley singing his song for the Rickroll. Not going to sing it here, but yeah. So when you open a wave, you start here, and it's very, very annoying. And if you try to delete it by normal conventions, it'll re-add it and keep re-adding it. So it's a very, very annoying bot. So in this particular thread, it was getting out of hand. Someone was just kept on adding the bot, kept on adding the bot, kept on adding it, and I had to use a bounce bot to get rid of the bot each time. So that's one of the problems with this social aspect of it. There's a lack of moderation tools available for public waves. When you make a thread or you make a wave public, you are opening yourself up to any and everything. Someone could come in and destroy everything you've created. So with that in mind, when you create a public wave in Google Wave, you just have to know that whatever you're creating, you better make your own backup. And another big problem with this is that there's no undo functionality. Now, how many of us have edited a document and accidentally deleted like a chunk of a paragraph just by an errant mouse click, or something? We brushed our wrist over the mouse pad and we deleted some text and moved some stuff around. You just hit Control Z or Option Z and Mac, undo. You can't do that in Google Wave. There is absolutely no undo. So if you make a mistake, it's there. If you accidentally delete something you didn't want to delete, it's there. What you got to do is you got to go back into the playback history and actually copy and paste. In some cases, you lose formatting, and it's a mess. So that's something to keep in mind as well. There's no undo. There's hardly any moderation, and there's also the third thing is that there's this social class that's building up in Google Wave. There's a set of users who consider themselves Google Wave experts, and there's this, I don't know, it's like an upper class, middle class, and lower class, and all the people who just came in were like the newbies or the noobs. It happens. It's a social network thing, I guess. But it's not necessarily a huge problem. I'm just seeing it in some cases. These people who are creating the etiquette waves, they seem very set in their thoughts, and like there's no other way things can be done. And it can be a little bit, they're not mean or anything. It's just, like I said, some people think they know more about it than others, and sometimes it shows. But I think that the biggest weakness in Google Wave is that the social networking features are not where they should be. I think the editing, the wiki, the email components, the adding people, the contacts, all that stuff is great. It shows the Google Gmail influence is definitely showing. But Google doesn't know how to do social networks. They don't know how to do social networks yet. And that really shows. The lack of moderation, the way anybody can come in and destroy anything, it has to be addressed. So those are my thoughts on some of the things that are wrong with Google Wave. So I hope you enjoyed this lengthy. Try to keep it as short as possible. Like I said, there's a ton of stuff to talk about. I cut out so much. But there's so much to talk about with Google Wave. So look for more from me on Google Wave as things develop. These are just my first impressions of what it is, some things I think can be improved, and where I think Google should go with it. It's something that a lot of people want access to. If you ask me for an invite, I got several invites when I was, I got 8 invites when I was invited by Google. And the invites are going out very, very slowly. The people I've already invited 4 days ago still haven't gotten their invites. So if you ask me for an invite, even if I could give it to you, you're not going to see it for a long, long time. But keep in mind that this is going to be going public probably in the next few months. I think they're getting close. The performance issues are being ironed out, and I think Google is on their way to a successful product. They got to get the social networking features right. That's just the big thing right now, social networking. Okay, this is Bwana from Bwana.tv. These are my thoughts on Google Wave. And enjoy the wave if you're part of it. If not, sorry.